Hello everyone, this is Chase Pounds. Welcome to my channel. Before I get into my main subject today, I would also like to add from my previous video on my When Time Ran Out movie that three things I forgot to mention was that the film was shot in real location in Hawaii. Then Paul Newman was later interviewed on the Larry King show regarding the film. He was asked, what was the least film you hated doing? And he said, the response was, oh, that volcano movie. As in replying, When Time Ran Out. He didn't even mention the movie by its title. And really just reflects how this wasn't really a film Paul Newman was enthusiastic about. He was only did just for the money, just for being under contract at Warner Brothers at the time with Irwin Allen. The third thing too I also like to clarify was that actually Irwin Allen did not direct the film, but he co-produced it. But it was directed by James Goldstone, who directed a series of other movies, including another disaster film in the 70s era called Roller Coaster that was by Universal Pictures. Though Irwin Allen gets the association with this because he produced it, he often is associated with this movie. Now, with that being discussed, now into my main subject is paying tribute to the Juneteenth holiday. My subject is going to be on the civil rights activists who pushed Juneteenth to the forefront as Harper Lee. Now, as many of you already may know, and some who may watch my videos or just new to this who don't know, that Juneteenth is a holiday that celebrates when the last of the slaves learned of their freedom, primarily in Galveston, Texas, when the last set of slaves learned of their freedom 2 years already after the Emancipation Proclamation that was passed by Abraham Lincoln in 1863, 2 years earlier, but finally learned of their freedom in 1865, making all slaves in the U.S. making all the slaves in the U.S. free. The celebration of Juneteenth is particularly strong in the area of Texas, again with all the last slaves learned of their freedom, and from that point on, Juneteenth was much of Juneteenth has been celebrated with picnics and festivals, barbecues, and so forth. And the celebration was almost an every year thing. Every year around June 19th, it was always marked with celebration for one point in time. The celebration people is only until the 50s, the mid 20th century, particularly between the civil rights movement of the 50s and 60s, as most people were focused on integration, the main issue of integration, that Juneteenth kind of fell in the backdrop of tradition. There will be a resurgence again in the 1970s. Somewhat resurgence in the 70s with the Black Power movement and the cultural reappreciation of Black Afrocentric culture. Different culture. And it it was only to recent decades in the recent decades that there'll be a resurgence in appreciate of embracing the Juneteenth holiday, mainly with the George Floyd the police brutality killing George Floyd, that would mark the era of racial I guess like reckoning or awakening or reckoning of America's racial past, as well as a resurging, as well as embracing Black American culture. Well, learning about our true roots of Black American culture. It was the following year under Joe Biden's administration that Juneteenth became a federal holiday. And that's what brings me to Oprah Lee, who pushed it to becoming Oprah Lee, who pushed it to become a national holiday. Oprah Lee was born in Galveston, in Marshall, Texas, in 1926. She moved about the time she was 10 years old. She moved into Fort Worth, Texas, in a predominantly white neighborhood, which that's interesting for its time, because most blacks were restricted or weren't even allowed access to mostly white neighborhoods with redlining and covenant laws.
Today,
that restricted blacks from coming into those neighborhoods, and but yet her family was bold enough to live in a predominantly white neighborhood. Yet they did experience harassment of different forms, particularly one night in 1939. I mean, again in 1939, which on June 19th, particularly, a white mob had burned her home, and that particularly had an effect on her about the importance of the Juneteenth holiday and what it represents. Oh, she would go on to graduate from the first black high school of Fort Worth, Texas.
But no matter what we felt, the Bible have forever changed our city.
The name of the school was Terrell Heights High School, which was the first black high school at that time. She graduated head of a class, and she graduated early at 16 years old. She graduated she would go on to attend Whaley College, and she graduated in 1952. She would pursue becoming an educator, a teacher for the local high school of Fort Worth, for the local high school. High school then became the head principal of and then she will
stand. Black America.
from receiving her master's degree, she became the educator of the district for Fort Worth, Fort Worth, Texas, before eventually retiring in the 1970s. Lee remained active in our community. She fought for social causes and social causes, for social and political causes, a better way of saying it, and she helped fund the Tarrant Court, the Tarrant Count Black Historical and Genealogical Society, and she also promoted the presidential candidate Barack Obama in his 2008 election. Her infamous she was mostly infamous for pushing for Juneteenth to become a federal holiday as at kind of at the same level as 4th of July, to be recognized as a federal holiday. And she would stage a lot of marches and walks, particularly marks that were about 20.5 miles and 14.0 kilometers, symbolically representing how long it took for the news to spread of Emancipation Proclamation in 1865. She eventually staged walkouts not just only in her hometown of Texas, but other states, particularly significant states, as ties to civil rights history, particularly Selma, Alabama, that was that marked the area of the Bloody Sunday Massacre of 1965, of the Voting Rights Act. Then you had, as well as Little Rock, Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas, which was known for the school desegregation. Then you had then she was Milwaukee with another, which Milwaukee has a strong, the celebration of Juneteenth is also strong in the community of Milwaukee and Atlanta, Georgia, and several other states, including even Las Vegas too. She one year in 2016, she went to the White House and pleaded with Obama's administration to make Juneteenth again a federal holiday, and she even started petitions. It wasn't long, and of course, in 2020, in 2021, the year in the wake of the George Floyd unrest, it was under the Biden administration that Juneteenth became a federal holiday in 2021. And she was present when Joe Biden signed the bill and giving her the nickname Grandmother of Juneteenth. And she was given the Standing Ovation Awards too, also by Joe Biden. By Joe Biden. And just in recent years, she received her doctorate degree from the Southern Methodist University of Dallas, Texas. And that's what Harper Lee is mostly known for, was trying to push her legacy of pushing Juneteenth to become a federal holiday that it is now. And that's my subject, is attributed to Juneteenth holiday. This is another view by Chase Pounds. Stay tuned for my next video.